Park in Miami, Florida. The New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri Honda. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? By Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. And by Cadillac. Well, the Mets arrived in South Florida in the wee hours on Monday morning, and well, the weather's been nice. Of course, we've been indoors the whole time, watching the Mets continue their winning ways. And now they'll be putting South Florida in their rearview mirror and heading to the other coast. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment as the Mets go for the sweep of a 3-game series against the Miami Marlins. The Mets came in on a high off their sweep of the Washington Nationals at home over the weekend. A little bleary-eyed after a 4:30 a.m. arrival, so would there be a letdown? No. Michael Conforto's second inning, first Major League home run, 435 feet, 3-run blast, lots of celebration. And then NYN Cespedes at his coming out party as a Met. 3 doubles in the game for Cespedes. The last 2 nearly left the ballpark. This one high up on the fence in right center. The next one halfway up the wall in left center. Cespedes with 3 doubles and 4 runs batted in as the Mets banged out 12 runs. Meanwhile, Bartolo Colon, badly in need of a good start, provided one. Allowed just 1 run in 8 innings, and the Mets celebrated a 12-1 victory. Then last night, runs were a little tougher to come by, and John Neese had to be on his game, which he has been lately, and he was again last night. 7 terrific innings from Neese, 1-1 game in the 8th, 2 out, 2 on, and Eric Campbell comes through, gets one over Echeverria's head for a base hit to bring in the go-ahead run. Mets went up 2-1. Juan Lagares followed with a gapper, a 2-run triple, and the Mets posted 4 runs in that 8th inning. Jerry's familiar, brought in a non-save situation. He put on the finishing touches in the 9th inning, and the Mets have themselves a 5-1 win, their 5th straight victory, and they maintained a 1-game lead over the Nationals in the National League East. The Mets are on a terrific roll right now.
You know what's great about it, Gary? When you look at the pitching the last 2 nights, how do you get on a roll? You have 2 of your veteran starters, not the big 3, come through. 15 innings, only gave up a couple of runs, did Colon and Neese, and now you have Harvey tonight. If you look at the offense, you're looking at Cespedes, who has made the team so much better, so much more athletic. Kelly Johnson, who's made the team versatile, and Juan Uribe has made the team better defensively. A lot more weapons for Collins, and the team is showing it in their 5-game stretch.
A little more offense to support that fine young pitching, and the Mets go for their 6th straight win and their 2nd straight sweep tonight. We'll look at the pitchers when we come back. Daily Fantasy Baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Here's your T-Mobile Data Strong fan of the game photo. Comes from Lynette, and we love dogs with hats. There's your latest numbers on Matt Harvey. Pitched brilliantly in a non-decision his last time out. 1.86 ERA the last 8 starts. Presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. And a promo code NYM for free entry.
Well, retiring the first 16 hitters of the game was not enough, but more importantly, he had that first start in the big series against Washington. He set the tone, and the Mets won all 3 games of that series.
This has been a difficult stopping off point for Matt. He'll try and turn that around tonight at Marlins Park against the former Yankee David Phelps.
Well, David Phelps is a guy that's gone between the rotation and the bullpen. He's a guy who was traded for Nathan Eovaldi, who has 11 wins for the Yankees right now.
Mets will face Phelps for the 4th time this year, bidding for their first 3-game road winning streak of the year. You did not hear that wrong. Mets and Marlins, first pitch is coming right up. Hour ago, Eric O'Flaherty, acquired from the Oakland Athletics, the former Atlanta Brave left-hander, brought here to be a situational lefty, acquired for a player to be named later. And the first pitch of the night is off the corner for ball 1. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Michael Conforto back in the lineup against the right-hander tonight, sat last night. Granderson pulls one foul. Curtis on a roll right now. He's reached base in 19 straight games. .393 on base percentage over that span.
Well, 17 starts for David Phelps, 4 relief appearances to go along with that. See, same hits about to innings pitched. Opponent's average pretty high, whip pretty high.
He was pulled from the rotation for a couple of relief outings when Jose Fernandez came back from Tommy John surgery, but he's made 4 starts since then. 3.57 ERA without a win, so he's been doing okay.
hardest part pitching against the Mets right now is that your numbers have to go up against Syndergaard, Harvey, and DeGrom, and it makes you look very pedestrian as far as a pitcher. David Phelps, very serviceable right-hander, can do a lot of things for your ball club. Good slider.
Granderson 4 for 9 in this series, and he takes inside. And a full count to Curtis with Murphy and Cespedes to follow. Since the Mets started adding to their offense when they brought in Juan Uribe and Kelly Johnson, Granderson lifts one to left, and Dietrich trying to measure it. And the novice left fielder makes the grab for the first out of the night. Since they added Uribe and Johnson, the Mets are averaging 5.9 runs per game, which is an enormous difference from the 3.4 they were averaging before they arrived.
Well, it's just, it's simple. It's the length of the lineup. It's the threat of a lot of players who weren't hitting, not playing. The meritocracy is on. If you're playing well, you're going to play. If you're not, we have weapons to replace you.
And of course makes the Mets bench a lot stronger as well. Here's Daniel Murphy, 1 for 4 in this series. And Murph pulls one toward the hole, and he's got himself a base hit. So the Mets have the first base runner of the night.
Defensively outside for Coors Light defense for the Marlins. Dietrich, who's played all 3 games in left, Yelich and Ichiro Suzuki, Prado, Echeverria, Gordon, and Bohr gets the start in his first game, and Jeff Mathis behind the plate.
Nice hand for Yoenis Cespedes, who has certainly made an impact in this series. Cespedes had the huge game on Monday night with 3 doubles and 4 RBIs, 1 for 5 last night. Hear the Met fans in attendance making themselves heard.
Murphy with that base hit on the first pitch from Phelps, batting .368 when he puts the first ball in play, and that number goes up with that first pitch single.
You know, with all the talk around baseball in recent years about on-base percentage and drawing walks, what gets lost in that conversation is that first pitch batting average in the major league consistently is above .330 when you put the ball in play on the first pitch. So often the first is the best.
I know he's hurt, but wouldn't you consider Miguel Cabrera one of the best hitters in the game? He says his theory is the longer they pitch to me, the less I'm going to get a good pitch to hit. So I have to always be ready first pitch, and I think more players should do that.
See, I look at it this way. There are horses for courses.
Yeah.
There are certain hitters who are inclined to work the count, try and get a good pitch to hit later in the count, and there are other guys who are not.
Yeah, and, well, you know, some guys have the confidence to hit with 2 strikes. Some don't. Some get a little anxious at the plate. But you know how many times in my career I threw a first pitch down the middle and the guy took it? I'm like, thank you very much. It's a beautiful thing, but you got to know who to do it to.
Right. 1-2 to Cespedes with Duda on deck, and the breaking ball from Phelps. He's able to lay off 2-2.
You know, I talked in the pregame. I should have used this line. One thing I've seen from this ball club, and Lucas Duda on deck, is that in this series, just in this series now, their ability to lay off the ball off the plate has been tremendous. It's a 180-degree turnaround from 10 days ago.
And nobody exemplifies that more than Duda, who was chasing so many bad balls and now is not. Cespedes fouls off the fastball.
The real good hitters, you say to yourself, you know, what makes them great? Well, they got the great hand-eye coordination. They know how to hit the ball in the strike zone. But you know what Cespedes does, as all great hitters do? Most of the balls he puts in play are mashed, and the more balls you mash, the better chance you have of getting hits. And that's why he's got all these extra base hits, tied for the major leagues in doubles.
31 doubles, tied with Jason Kipnis of the Indians for the most in the majors. 2-2 coming, and he hits this one out to center. Yelich moves over and grabs it for the second out. Murphy back to first, 2 away.
Okay, that ball for Cespedes not hit on the button, but that ball's a bullet. That's what he does.
Now Duda, who had a couple of hits last night, including the bullet over the head of the right fielder, Cole Gillespie, that wound up being the start of the Mets' 4-run rally in the 8th inning.
The longest single ever. You see the defense. Martin Prado will go in the second base position. He's played a lot of second base. Gordon's out in the outfield. And Echeverria stays at his natural position, shortstop.
Duda 2 for 9 in this series after a stretch where he hit 9 home runs in an 8-game span. Mets have hit just 1 home run in the 2 games in this series. That was Conforto's blast on Monday night. And the off-speed pitch from Phelps for a strike, 1-1.
Good change up, but if you're Lucas Duda and you saw the at bat to Granderson, and that's his job to take a lot of pitches. See Uribe on deck. He pitched Granderson in twice. Duda's got to expect that he's going to try to come in at least once this at bat.
And that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Ask Jordan Zimmerman. Another changeup. That one missed 2-1. I still think that's the most unlikely home run we've seen all season. Sunday night.
The ability to pull his arms in. Guys have done it, and guys have maybe looped a hit, but to hit it out of the ballpark is just so unusual. And Zimmerman was shocked by it too.
Phelps checks in on Murphy, who has just 1 stolen base this season.
Murphy ran a lot this year. He slowed it down, I think, partly because of the injuries he's suffered.
Juan Uribe would be next. 2-1 to Duda. And Lucas takes a strike on the outside. 2-2. Bill Welke calling the balls and strikes tonight.
Well, Bill Welke's one of the best umpires. This pitch is borderline. I thought it ran off the plate. I thought it was high enough. But last night from Angel Hernandez, saw a lot of pitches on the outside part, called a strike. Welke's good, solid.
2-2 coming. And pulled down to first. Bohr right on the bag. It's a foul ball. Bohr never got off first base after holding Murphy, and he was just the right spot to field that hard foul ball.
So I guess not moving from your position puts you in the right place.
Now tell me this.
Okay.
Because it's Duda, is he being asked not to move off the base?
Yes, because we're at Gordon. Show Gordon again. Gordon's right behind him. So anything to his right is going to be right to D. Gordon.
I mean, it almost looks like Bohr's not doing his job, but he really is.
He's playing the line.
Right. It's almost like it's the 8th inning in a tie game. But it's just a matter of the shift against Duda. So another 2-2, and that one's in tight, and a full count to Lucas.
Well, he wanted this pitch inside, but it misses. Good eye by Duda. Mathis brought it back over the plate. Now, in this kind of defense in the shift, your 3-2 pitch has got to be a changeup. Changeup down. You want Duda to hit it on the ground. You want him to pull it because you want him to hit it into the shift. Let's see what Phelps counters with.
We're still holding Murphy, who's running, and Duda cues one just foul. Got a change up away and almost had himself a fortunate hit.
Murph's still running.
Yeah, nobody told him it was a foul ball.
I heard Murph before the game. It was so interesting. He called Kelly Johnson in because he was watching a tape of Eric O'Flaherty join the Mets today and how O'Flaherty had gotten him out, throwing a ball right close to his head. And I was tempted to say to Murphy, you know, he's been traded to your team, not the other team. You don't need to watch tape on Eric.
Murphy was just watching as a fan.
Yeah.
8th pitch of the at bat, and Duda fouls back the fastball. Well, O'Flaherty was not having a good year overall for Oakland, but if you break it down lefty righty, he's still getting lefties out like he always has, and that's, I'm sure, how Terry will use him as a one batter guy.
There was a need. I thought it was interesting that they went to Tyler Clippard and they said, you assess what he did in Oakland. You were his teammate. And he gave a good assessment of what O'Flaherty did, especially against lefties.
Lengthy at bat here for Duda. And Phelps and Mathis need to go through the signs. Again, the 3-2. And it's just off the plate, ball 4. So he didn't get the call on the first strike, but he got it on ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on for Uribe.
Do you remember earlier in the year, Gary, where everyone felt as though any close pitch you had to swing at because each player was trying to do something more than they could? When you have a lineup like this, you just keep the line moving. If you're not going to throw me a strike, Uribe will get the job done.
Uribe 1 for 5 in this series. He's played 8 games for the Mets, 5 for 22 with a home run. And so Phelps is out to work hard here in the first inning, much the way Brad Hand did last night. Hand threw 31 pitches, even though he threw up a 0 in the first, and that shortened his night. And Uribe taking all the way a first pitch strike. To Uribe. Phelps came over from the Yankees, and the deal that sent Nate Eovaldi and Garrett Jones to the Yankees came with Martin Prado in that trade. So you'd have to say it's helped both teams. Certainly helping the Marlins more now in terms of their pitching depth, now that they've traded away Matt Latos and Dan Harris.
Well, Garrett Jones thought he was going to play a bigger role, maybe even trading at bats with Alex Rodriguez at the DH role, but he couldn't because A-Rod got off to such a great year. But Eovaldi, it's hard to even describe his year. He's got 11 wins, but 142 hits and 117 innings.
For a guy throwing 97 miles an hour.
His whip's $1.50, but it's worked.
Off the plate to Uribe, and it's 2-2. As for Phelps, his whip is 1.29, which is the lowest it's been in 3 years. So getting out of Yankee Stadium, I'm sure, helps him on that count. This is certainly a much more pitcher-friendly park. Two out, 2 on, 2-2 to Uribe. And he smacks one the other way, but Ichiro slides over to grab it, and that retires the side. Good at bat for Uribe. But Phelps able to put up a 0 in the first inning. Matt Harvey takes the mound here in Miami when we come back. Or at first base. Ichiro Suzuki sat last night. He's in there tonight. And Matt Harvey, who has never fared well against the Marlins, will face them tonight.
Well, he's fared well against just about everyone else. There's his cheap numbers. Great ERA, 9-7. Probably should have some more wins. Was outstanding in his last start, retiring the first 16. But yeah, you want to get over the hump. You haven't pitched well in a certain stadium. You want to go out and throw some shutout innings.
Dee Gordon leads off, 2 for 8 in the series. 20 hits against the Mets this year of his league-leading 127, and he pops the first pitch up. Tejada retreating, Conforto coming on to call, and this time they don't collide. They've already had one of those. Conforto smiling at the memory. If you're Tejada, you do not want to be colliding with Michael Conforto.
Well, what's interesting is you don't know when you have a rookie outfielder how aggressive he's going to be. So that's the issue for a shortstop.
Here's what Ruben should remember. Michael's got football in his blood.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And a football player's body as well. 1 out and nobody on. Here's Derek Dietrich, 2 for 7 in this series, hitting at .257. And he takes the fastball outside from Harvey.
I was talking to Conforto today. Shook hands with him. Every good hitter, they have hands like vice grips. Crazy.
Matt's fastball not exploding early in this game.
But you know, against Washington too, he's throwing 93, 94 early, almost like a Verlander-like. He's going to ease into the game and then start going.
That was never really his style in the past.
No. Well, remember 3 or 4 starts ago, he came out throwing 99, and it just did not work. I think it was against the Nationals in Washington.
Right, when he was in that stretch where he was walking a lot of people. He had 13 walks in a 3-start stretch. Didn't walk anybody against the Nats last time out. And throws the good curveball and gets a swing. And it's 2-2.
Well, that was nasty. That's as good a curveball I've seen him have in some time.
Matt pitched into the 8th inning his last time out. He was perfect for 5 1/3. And then finally surrendered a run with 2 out in the 8th, and that cost him a chance to get a win. Mets would eventually win that Friday night game in 12 on the Wilmer Flores home run. But in a big spot, Harvey pitched wonderfully against the team the Mets were chasing at the time and whom they now lead. 2-2 coming. Another curve pulled and over the bag and down the line. Dietrich's got an extra base hit. So a 1-out double for Derek Dietrich.
Well, defensively behind Matt Harvey this evening here at Miami. Well, we got a little glitch. We'll come back with it later. We know Duda's playing first.
They're not likely to change in the next few minutes. All will be well. Here's Christian Yelich, 4 for 8 in this series. He's been a hot hitter. In the 6 weeks Giancarlo Stanton's been out, Yelich has really picked it up. Since the 27th of June, he's hitting .345, much more like the hitter we saw last year than the one who struggled early this season. And the fastball inside, 2-0. We're talking about Harvey and his lack of results against the Marlins. 2 starts this year, a 5.14 ERA. 6 starts lifetime, a 4.14 ERA. And in this ballpark, he's never won. So, hasn't exactly been his kryptonite, but it's been a little bit of a roadblock for him. 2-1 to Yelich. There's his first trip to 95 tonight.
Well, it's interesting how, remember Dylan G when he was making all those starts for the Mets, the Nationals couldn't beat him. He always pitched well against them, struggled against other teams. It happens sometimes. They get your number, but you want to try to eliminate that as quick as possible.
Now, that having been said, there's nobody in this lineup who's particularly thumped him. After all, Stanton's not in there. Bouncing ball for Tejada. Makes the reaching grab, and Duda falling down as he made that stretch and stayed on the bag. I think Lucas just lost his footing, but able to make the play.
Well, on this play, he gets to the bag, and I think his foot slides across the bag. No, he just really fell. Let's see how he gets this. No, he scraped his foot across the bag. But you know, the hit by Dietrich, he looked like he was going to get there. He slipped on that play also. So a little muddy track.
Yeah, I wonder where that dirt was a little overwatered before the game. In any event, Lucas able to make the play. He's a little shaken up. He's squatting down and might have a little bit of an issue he's dealing with now.
Remember, he got fouled that ball off himself last night and really was hurting for a while and had to really kind of spread out there on that play. They're going to challenge this play.
They're going to say Lucas was off the bag, which is possible. I'm not sure. His foot was off the bag at some point. Whether he got back to the bag to get the out or not, we'll have to see.
Well, wow, that's real close.
Off there. Now, does he get back to it?
Look at that toe.
He might have scraped that front.
See that toe? I don't know.
It's close.
To me, it's too much to take it back.
Can't tell from that angle. I think I'm with you, Ronnie. I think it may be that his foot was off the bag, but I don't know if there's clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call.
Especially with Yelich's foot seemed to block at least that look. Maybe they have a different look in Park Avenue, so shouldn't assume. But lucky that Yelich didn't end up stepping on the ankle of Duda.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. I mean, that could have been a Tim Hudson kind of a play, you know?
Yes, exactly. Because that was a big leap to first, wasn't it? And quite a chance for Dan Jennings and his crew, I think, to take here in the first inning, but trying to do anything they can do.
And they have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
you know, they're 21 games under 500. So if they can figure out a way to scratch a run against Matt Harvey, even if it's through the review process, they'll take that gamble, I think.
You know, they had something on the board here. I don't know if you saw it, Gary. It looked like his foot was off the board on the play on the board. Let's see if they change.
And they confirm the out call. So the Marlins lose their challenge.
Just too close to call. Watch Yelich's left foot, sorry. See how it gets in the way, and you don't know if Duda's toe is touching the edge of the bag. That's where you lose it.
Yeah, it's too close for the guys in New York, and Jim Joyce's crew and Jerry Meals' crew are in the bunker.
And if they had called him safe, you'd have to stay with the safe. I mean, that's how tough it was.
So here's Justin Bour, who had a home run against Harvey earlier this season. Bour getting his first start in this series. Batting cleanup and playing first base. Dietrich at third and 2 out. Bour fouls off the fastball. I think we found the defense.
Well, I made a rookie mistake. Lexus defense. You do not say anything on the road until the defense plays. All right, that's the outfield. You rebate to Tejada, Murphy, and Duda, and Plawecki behind the plate. You cannot talk about the defense until you see a face on the screen. My fault, guys.
Off the corner, 1-1.
We're going to blame the machine. That's how it goes now. No people are involved. No one's fault. It's a machine's
Does that
fault.
mean they're going to buy a new machine?
Yeah. Well, no.
See?
That's dollars, buddy.
It always costs less to say human error.
That's right.
1-1 to Bour, and that misses inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Harvey right out of the gate against Washington his last start. You could tell he was on. It's a little off here in the first inning.
And I don't know, but it seems like we've said that in this ballpark before with Matt. Maybe that's just coincidence. 2-2 to Bour. Justin Bour, 27 years old, the rare major leaguer out of George Mason University. You see the Nats have 2 against Ruby De La Rosa in the first inning after they rallied to win last night.
Got to be careful on this pitch. He threw that fastball right by him. You don't want him to catch up to your breaking ball. If you want to throw the curveball, good pitch, but bounce it.
Dietrich at third and 2 out. 2-2 to Bohr, and it's pulled foul.
A little better swing from Bohr. He was on that fastball in, so now he's opened himself up to the breaking pitch. You saw those first inning runs for Harvey. Makes sense post Tommy John surgery that it would take you a while to get it going sometimes.
That's overall ERA at 2.91. 2-2 coming, and that's well up high. Full count. Of course, in the other dugout is another young star pitcher recovering from Tommy John surgery, Jose Fernandez, who's about 3 months behind Harvey in his rehab, but has gotten off to a great start.
Right-hander up next. 3-2 breaking ball here. Let's see.
Bohr drives one to right. Will it stay up? It does for Granderson, who makes a nice sliding catch to end the inning. Bohr hit a shot, but it was hit hard enough for Granderson to make the play. And Harvey escapes the opening inning in Miami. No score after 1. It's up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Michael Conforto leads off for the Mets in the second. Conforto sat last night, had 2 hits, including his first major league home run Monday night.
The last time Conforto, I remember his first at bat, you and I were talking about the Mets getting in at 430, maybe being a little flat, and then 435 feet later they're on the board 3 times.
Well, Conforto making his 8th start tonight, and the Mets will have another decision to make with him. It looks like Michael Kadire should be ready to return sometime this weekend. So then the question becomes, as you look at Conforto's home run Monday night.
3-1 count, blistered.
Then the question becomes, do you keep Conforto around with Kadire's return? Will he be able to play enough to justify doing that? Off the glove of the pitcher, but it deflects right to Gordon. And the 1-4-3 put out for the first down. You know, I think a lot of that has to do with how the Mets see Michael Kadire at this point.
Well, they've seen Michael for a better part of 4 months, and it's been a struggle for him. Anyone who's ever watched Michael Conforto's Michael Kadire's larger body of work, he's a 275, 280 hitter, a guy who's going to drive in runs. That has not been the case this year. So a huge decision. But if Conforto is not going to play and you decide Kadire, he's got to go down and play.
Right. Kevin Plawecki takes a strike. Well, it's much the same as the decision the Mets made with Plawecki, right? When d'Arnaud came back, they figured there was enough playing time for Plawecki because they were going to ease d'Arnaud back in, that it was worth keeping Plawecki here. It wouldn't affect his development. But at the same time, though, you know, Plawecki has started almost 60 games in the major leagues this year. It's not the same with Conforto, who was brought up from Double-A and has had a smattering of at-bats. It's a tough call. I mean, the Mets are such a different team than they were as Plawecki flies one out to right and Ichiro goes back to get it. They're such a different team now than they were 10 days ago when Conforto first got called up.
And the other issue I'll bring up, and they don't face it that often because there's not that many left-handed starters. Last night the Mets faced Brad Hand, had their lineup in there, but instead of Kadire, who's coming back Friday, had Conforto on the bench. So if they switch up and bring the right-hander in. So there's a lot of different decisions to make. If he gets 2 or 3 hits tonight, it'll make it even a more difficult decision.
That's for certain. Here's Tejada. Ruben had 2 hits and drove in the Mets' first run last night. While Matt Harvey has struggled against Miami, Ruben Tejada has cashed in against the Marlins this year. That brings his RBI bat on deck. And Tejada hits one out to center. Yelich back, a long way back. It fooled him, and he can't get it. It hops over the wall, a ground rule double for Tejada. That ball just kept on carrying, and Yelich didn't have any idea that Tejada could hit it that far. He hit it about 410 feet.
Well, the first issue is Yelich was playing him unbelievably shallow. And then once it got over his head, there was really no chance unless he made a say, hey, Willie Mays catch, Vic Wertz kind of catch. And he did not. And that ball bounced into the shrubbery.
That may be the furthest that Ruben Tejada has ever hit a baseball in the major leagues. He's hit a few home runs, but that was a clout and is a home run in almost every other ballpark but this one. Now Harvey, who has 7 runs batted in this year, gets an at-bat with a runner in scoring position, and Matt has had a base hit in each of his last 3 at-bats with runners in scoring position. He had 3 straight 2 RBI games before that streak was ended in his last start. So looking to cash one early in this game. And the curveball misses from Phelps. 1-1. It's certainly the case this year that we've seen Met pitchers pitched like real hitters.
They really have. And if you look at the outfield, the Shaky Dietrich, who's an infielder by nature, is back. Yelich is shallow, but Ichiro is playing extremely shallow. Harvey has one thing. He got some pop.
Well, we've seen that this year. He hit his first major league home run. He'd settle for a soft single right here. Although where Ichiro is playing, if he gets the base hit to right, it would be tough for Tejada to score. No matter. Phelps strikes out Harvey to end the inning. First strikeout for David Phelps. A double and 1 left. Still no score in Miami. Citi Field Saturday, August 15th. The Mets play the Pirates. Stay after the game for a special post-game concert featuring three-time platinum R&B artist Ne-Yo. The post-game concert is included in the price of your ticket, and it's all presented by Pepsi. Purchase tickets online at Mets.com/concerts. Well, the last 6 weeks, the Mets starting pitching has certainly been outstanding. 2.24 ERA over that stretch. And the Mets are 8 games over 500 since that stretch began. Martin Prado leads off in the home second against Harvey, who had a rocky first inning but survived it.
I think for the Mets starting pitchers and any one of those riders that's out there, they can steal it if they want. Should be a super quality start, which is the way you should rate these guys. 7 innings, 2 runs or less. Forget about the quality start. Quality start is whack. 4.5 ERA does not do these guys justice. 7 innings or more, 2 runs or less, super quality start. That's what they revel in.
It's 2.57.
There you go. That makes sense.
On the outside corner, Prado caught looking. 96, hardest pitch Harvey's thrown to date, and he has his first strikeout.
The interesting thing about Matt is this sequence of pitches have gotten better and better this year, so that the called third strike is becoming a big part of his repertoire, and it's because he's setting hitters up.
Well, in his last 4 games, 14 of Matt's 25 strikeouts have been on call third strikes, which was never the case earlier in his career or even earlier this season. Ichiro Suzuki takes a curveball for a strike. Ichiro 2 hits in this series to get to 2,904 in his major league career. 4,182 including his time in Japan. And he is badly fooled. 0-2.
2 straight breaking balls to Ichiro. Good changeup last night for a hit off Clippard in the 8th inning. Too good of a pitch there by Matt. That happens. Trying to throw a slider down and in. Caught the middle of the plate.
Is that the first slider he's thrown tonight?
Yes.
It's a pitch that has been better and better for him recently. After being missing in action early in the year. And he strikes out Ichiro with the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Harvey. He's just getting started.
Must be nice every once in a while. You say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to strike this guy out. I don't care where I throw it. I'm just going to throw it hard. And that's kind of what it looked like there.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now a Danny Echeverria, who's 0 for 6 in this series. Almost looks like it took the first inning for Matt to get loose. He's unleashing it now.
It's almost like
slider.
First inning is to break up the scar tissue, and then we go.
What they used to call it, tearing the adhesions.
That's right. You could hear it sometimes. You throw a pitch, and you'd hear the snap, crackle, pop.
Curveball hit well out to right center. Long run for Cespedes into the gap. It'll get there. And that retires the side. So Harvey sets him down 1-2-3 in the second. After 2, no score. skip the fees. No fees now through this Friday, so hurry to get your savings. Go to Mets.com/no fees. Second time through the batting order for David Phelps. Curtis Granderson leads off in the third. Curtis flied to left to open the ball game. Curtis has played in every game for the Mets this year. 108 games as of tonight, most of any player in the National League. And he only seems to be getting stronger as the year goes along, which is quite a tribute to the way he has taken care of himself at age 33.
Well, he's in fantastic shape, but he also is smart enough not to overdo it day after day after day. He saves it for 7-10 to 10-10. That's when he's ready.
I docked him a year. He's 34. Curveball in the dirt, 2-2 to Granderson. Curtis very quietly has had himself a very nice year. .352 on base percentage, manning that leadoff spot, 17 home runs after hitting 20 in his first year as a Met. It's easy to do some math after tonight, because tonight, game number 108, marks the 2/3 point of the season.
It was not until I started doing games with you, my friend, that I started to learn how people on air, radio or TV work. They think of the halfway point, 2/3 through.
Granderson has himself a base hit, and he's on for the 20th straight game, this time leading off in the third. We're just trying to provide accurate representation of the flow of the season.
Oh, that flow was beautiful by Granderson as he dumps that into right field. Good pitch by Phelps. Pitcher's pitch.
But, you know, after tonight, you divide by 2 and multiply by 3, and now you know what your season's like.
Well, that's if you don't fall on your face in the last 2 months.
Well, you can go on a hot streak, too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So here's Murphy, who had a base hit his first time up. Granderson at first and nobody out. Mets have their third hit against Phelps. And Murph takes the cutter low and in. Well, the Mets have the easiest schedule left in the major leagues. Of course, 3 other teams in the division can say the same. And a lot of that is because the Mets and the other teams in the division are playing the American League East. So the Mets get the Red Sox and the Rays, both of whom are under 500. They get the teams in their own division, including the Phillies and the Marlins, who are well below 500.
Interesting. Prado stopped play, came in to speak to Phelps. I don't know what that could be about. Picture we have of the camera shot behind board at Granderson, they don't look like they should be playing the same sport. Justin Bour. I mean, look how big he is.
Well, you referred to Granderson last night as wiry. Justin Bour, not wiry.
He's like a refrigerator with a head. I mean, huge.
Phelps behind Murphy 3-0. Yeah, he's a big man, and he and Duda are, both well suited to being first baseman. Bour may have some sides even on Lucas, at least side to side side.
Yes.
3-0 to Murph, who rarely swings 3-0. And he takes one inside, ball 4. The Mets have the first 2 men on, with Cespedes coming up. Second walk given up by Phelps. And you can hear just how loud the Mets contingent is in the ballpark tonight, as it has been throughout this series. There's the road ahead presented by your Tri-State Buick dealer. Mets go to Tropicana Field for 3 starting on Friday night to play the Rays, who lost this afternoon in Chicago. And they play the Rockies. They'll see Jose Reyes for 4 days starting on Monday. And then the Pirates come in next weekend. Pirates have been the best team in the National League over the last 2.5 months.
Well, the last 15 games, we know what the Mets record on the road has been. It's not been good, but at least last 15 they're 9-6, so they're trending better.
Here's Cespedes, who flied out to center his first time up. Granderson at second, Murphy at first, and nobody out. And Phelps gets a generous high strike.
Mathis behind the plate, unlike Real Muto, is an experienced line stopper. He has been around a long time, did a lot of his best work with the Angels. Great at stealing strikes, throwing runners out, blocking pitches.
That's the protege of Mike Scioscia in Anaheim. Ball and a strike to Cespedes.
I always loved the story with Mathis and Scioscia. Scioscia said when he became manager, I promised myself I would not be hard on catchers because everyone was hard on me in the Dodgers system. He said, how'd that work out? He goes, I'm awful to catchers.
Duda on deck. 1-1 to Cespedes. And he checks his swing, and he stopped it in time. Tom Payne with the call. 2-1.
Slight offer here by Cespedes, but he's so strong. Kind of whips that bat back with one hand at one point.
I love what Cespedes told Terry Collins when he arrived last week. He said, put me in the lineup every day and don't worry about me. What better thing can a manager hear? Now it's 3-1 to him.
I mean, a lot of times when you get the superstar player, it comes with an entourage of trouble. Not with Cespedes.
Well, he's in a great spot here. You got Duda on deck, 2 on, nobody out, 3-1 count. And Phelps in a world of trouble. And Cespedes fouls it off. Pitch to hit there. 3-2.
That was a close call. That was a pitch by Phelps that was up and away. Just enough away, just enough up. Watch this pitch. It's 3-1 fastball. You're looking for it. Just up enough.
Now Phelps is not a strikeout pitcher. Would you dare to send the runners here?
I would not send the runners, and I said it last night, and the runners were going. Or the runner was going for first base. 88 punch outs for Cespedes.
Not going, and he fouls it off. Normally I wouldn't think of that, you know, in this spot, but you know, you got a guy like Phelps who just is not a big strikeout guy.
And the only way for him to get out of this inning is to get a ground ball. Well, that's what he's trying to do. We'd be very surprised if Cespedes at some point does not see a slider on this 3-2 count.
Granderson at second, Murphy at first, and nobody out. Mets trying to strike first here in the third inning. And Cespedes lines it center field. Yelich coming on. It drops for a base hit. Granderson being waved around. Yelich's throw is cut off, and the Mets have the early lead. Yoenis Cespedes comes through with an RBI single, and it's 1-0 New York.
You know, your elite hitters are great breaking ball hitters, and he did get the slider on the 3-2 pitch. Left it over the plate. No, pretty good pitch, and he hits a bullet. But even better than this, you see the defense up the middle. Watch Granderson. Reads it right away. Great read at second base. Knew it was a base hit all the way, and that's how he scored.
Yelich tried to deke him to no avail. So Cespedes drives in his 5th run in 5 games as a Met. And the Mets have the early lead. First and second, still nobody out, and Lucas Duda steps in. Lucas walked in a 9-pitch plate appearance his first time up. And he pulls the breaking ball foul, 0-1. Murphy now at second, Cespedes at first. Three infielders on the right side against Lucas. And he takes one up and in, 1-1. To me, this is a troubling shift when you don't have that second baseman out in shallow right field.
It's almost what you've done is that you've allowed any kind of line drive that you could snare.
Slicing away from Yelich, that's up the gap and going to the wall. Murphy will score. Cespedes is right behind him. A 2-run double for Lucas Duda, and it's 3-0 Mets.
Well, he gets a changeup up and away and goes with the baseball. Big ballpark, drops it over the head of Yelich, and by the time he gets it in center field and gets it in, the base running on this was fantastic. Murph was easy. He knows the ball's over the head. He had to hustle, though, because Cespedes had the best read since Granderson. Look at this read. And then he makes like a track beat, trying to run Murphy down.
That was great. Murph had to speed up to avoid getting lapped.
When you watch players that know how to play this game and have instincts, it sticks out like a sore thumb today. And that's what Cespedes has.
He's telling Colon and Tejada, I thought I had him. I thought I was going to get him. So the Mets with 3 runs home, still nobody out. And now Uribe, who lined out to right to end the first inning. Duda at second, and Uribe takes up and in ball 1. No action yet in the Marlins bullpen. They've had to go to their bullpen early each of the first 2 games of the series. Tom Kohler went 4 1/3 Monday. Brad Hand went 4 last night. And so Dan Jennings a little reticent to get someone up early tonight. Uribe fouls back the high curve, and it's 1-1.
Again, just a lot of mighty swings by the Mets in this 3-game series.
Michael Conforto on deck. Granderson started with a base hit. Murphy walked on 4 pitches. Cespedes singled in a run, and Duda's double brought home 2. Still nobody out. And Uribe grounds 1. That'll advance Duda to third. Echeverria gets the first out of the inning. Well, we talked a lot early in the season about the Marlins and their expectations. This was a team that was expected to perform, but they have been without Henderson Alvarez most of the year. Steve Cishek struggled. Now he's with St. Louis. They traded away Herron and Latos and Dyson. Cosart's in the minors. Stanton's hurt. Ozuna's in the minors. It just hasn't worked out for them the way they expected.
You know, it was 3 or 4 teams, the White Sox, the Padres, the Braves, Marlins, who made the most moves this winter.
And there was a thought that, you know, the Mets and Marlins were kind of on a par going into the year as far as expectations, and clearly the Mets have met theirs much more than the Marlins have.
That doesn't even bring into play the manager Mike Redmond, replaced by Dan Jennings. Brett Butler replaced at third base by Lenny Harris.
Butler now in the dugout alongside Jennings. Infield in for the Marlins with 3 runs home in the inning. Duda at third and 1 out. Conforto rounded out his first time, and he fouls back to Cutter. 1-2.
Well, let's see what Conforto can do here. Professional at bat by Mr. Uribe. Good read by Lucas. Has been some really good base running this inning to get to third base. Now less than 2 outs. Can the youngster drive him in?
Well, he had second and third the other night, and he drove him in by hitting one over the wall.
Yes, he did.
And he hits this one deep to center. That'll get the run in. Duda tags at third. Yelich grabs it. Duda trots on in with the 4th run of the inning. Michael Conforto with a sacrifice fly, and it's 4-0 New York.
Boy, Gary, this game is so much fun to watch when it's played correctly. Just the little things and the big things. But 1-2 count. He gets a slider that misses by Phelps. That's a ball you can pop up. He did pop it up to center field. Nice hitting.
Well, an inning that has included mashing, patience, and execution. You don't always get those all 3 in the same inning. And Plawecki takes up and away ball 1. Mashing by Duda, patience by Murphy, execution by Uribe, and Conforto getting the extra run in.
Base running by Granderson and Cespedes.
That's how you play championship baseball. Well, there are your standings in the National League East. Mets a game up on the Nats and everybody else out of it, including the Marlins, who are in danger of getting caught by the Phillies, who've played so much better since the All-Star break and are now just a game behind Miami.
Crooked number used to be a good series for the Mets. Now it's a good inning.
Plawecki takes strike 3 called, and the inning comes to an end, but the Mets cash 4. Granderson and Murphy got aboard, and the 3 and 4 hitters do what they're paid to do. Cespedes drives in a run. Duda brings home 2, and the Mets have a 4-0 lead in the 3rd in Miami. Rocky first inning and a dominant second. He'll face the number 8 hitter Jeff Mathis, his first at bat in the series. Mathis missed 2 months early this season with a broken hand, and he's never really gotten his year going. Starting his 17th game tonight. Of course, he's never been much of a hitter. Lifetime 194 hitter.
Well, huge shutdown inning here for Harvey. When you're facing a team that is struggling like the Marlins, and they've gone through a lot of changes, and they don't have as many weapons, and they don't have Stanton in the lineup, I'm not saying that you can do this, but it's almost, Gary, like you break their will.
Uribe making the backhand stop and throws out Mathis one away. Is that true within series, within games, within seasons?
It's within series. You know, you come out in this 3rd game of the series, every professional athlete, see Phelps coming up, opposing pitcher, and say to yourself, you know what, let's man up and take the last game of the series. But then you're facing Harvey, and Harvey's the kind of guy that can embarrass you. And then you're facing the Mets lineup that all of a sudden throws a crooked number on you. So as you get deeper into this game, it starts to break your will. You start to feel, boy, we are just not a good team right now.
And how does that manifest itself?
It manifests itself in that is that Harvey will end up dictating the at-bats, not the players dictating the at-bats to Harvey. It'll end up with the Mets doing exactly what they're doing now, driving up the pitch count of Phelps, who's trying to stay in the game as long as he can because the bullpen's been overtaxed, even though they brought up a new pitcher today, the Marlins.
Phelps is down on strikes, 3rd of the night for Harvey.
And you get this feeling that you start to feel a little sorry for yourself, you know, and that's how it manifests itself.
By the way, Mets putting up a 4 spot in the top of the inning. It's the 4th straight game the Mets have had an inning of at least 4 runs, which ties a club record. 4 straight games with at least a 4-run inning. And, you know, think about it in these terms, and you were mentioning it before. The Mets, when they've scored 4 in a game this year, are 40-6. 40-6. The nature of this team has changed so drastically in such a short period of time.
It's almost, honestly, from my seat up here, I've had to change my thinking a little because it's just an entire different team to watch.
Gordon slashes one just foul.
You know, it's only human, and you try not to do this, but you get in certain parts of the season where the offense had struggled so bad that it's only human. Your first thought is, well, it'd be really hard to score 4 runs to get back in this one. That kind of thought, you know, and you wouldn't even think twice about that now.
0-2 coming, and Gordon hits it weakly. No chance to throw him out. Uribe put it in his pocket. It's the second one of this series Gordon's had just like that, where he's dribbled one up the third baseline and wound up with a base hit.
Well, the full swing and the ball goes 35 feet, and he can run a 3.7 down the first baseline. That's always a good combination.
It's bad math for the defense. So the Marlins have their second hit, and Derek Dietrich, who had the first one, a double to right, will come up. Now it's real early in this game, but the Marlins are down by 4. You're going to shut Gordon down at this point, or let him run?
No, I think he's the kind of player that you would want. That's part of his game. The problem, Gary, is that he is not a great base stealer yet. He's fast. He can steal bases, but he also can get thrown out. And to get thrown out here, unconscionable.
He's running. Dietrich pops it up. Headed toward the stands. Conforto over. And he makes the backhand grab. Well, Michael Conforto has confounded the scouting reports on him defensively. He has played really well. That gets Harvey through the bottom of the third. Conforto coming a long way to get this ball. After 3, 4-0 Mets. Ruben Tejada leads off the fourth inning for New York. Ruben hit a 410-foot ground rule double to center field his first time up, continuing his barrage against the Miami Marlins this year. Entering tonight's game, Ruben was hitting .333 with 8 of his 20 RBIs this season coming against Miami. And that's helped the Mets win 8 of 12 against the Marlins. Pops this one up into foul ground Ichiro, and that's in the stands.
They got that low bridge too, so it makes it difficult for the right fielder to kind of lay out.
Ichiro making friends amongst the patrons in that front row.
Didn't Ichiro have a foul ball once? He was playing right field, and it was someone in an Ichiro jersey caught the ball in right field.
Ichiro, when he first started out with the Mariners, was a phenomenon defensively.
Yeah.
Maybe the best arm in the game, the ability to climb walls, go gap to gap. There's a reason he won 10 Gold Gloves.
Yes.
In addition to all of his offensive prowess.
And many naysayers saying there's no way he can hit big league pitching the way he hits. No way.
Only 2,900 times. Tejada bloops one in front of Ichiro, and that'll fall for a base hit. So Tejada continues to own Miami. 2 for 2 tonight, and he's done plenty this year as well. This was back in May against Tom Kohler, a 3-run double. Got the big hit against Steve Cishek to win a game the very next day. Last night, drove in the first Met run with some help from Wilmer Flores' great slide, the Gumby move.
And a little opposite tonight. The blast and the bloop.
And now Harvey can go up there to bunt. And he takes a strike. Matt struck out his first time up tonight. Has just one sacrifice this year to go with his 7 hits. By the way, speaking of bunt plays, I'm talking to Terry Collins before the game today about the Wilmer Flores attempted bunt last night in the 8th inning. And Terry confirmed what we said in the booth, which is that players are told if you see the shortstop break to third on the wheel play, you have to swing the bat, or at least not bunt. And Wilmer apparently did not see it, or didn't see it in time to make the adjustment. All's well that ended well, though. And scored 4 runs in that inning. Harvey's swinging the bat on 0-2. Prado goes to second, gets the force there, and the relay in time for the double play. Nicely executed by the Marlins. 5-6-3 on the double play.
Well, maybe we found something that Matt can't do, and that's maybe run here. 5-6. Good arm by Echeverria to just get Matt first base. This was an interesting play, honestly, by the third baseman Prado, because usually you take that out at first base, but he made a nice play to the shortstop covering.
You know, if you saw the first 2 steps out of the box from Matt, he was going half step, and then he realized, uh-oh, this could be a double play, and then it was too late.
Yeah.
Here's Granderson with 2 out, and he takes the curveball for a strike. Curtis got the Mets' 4-run third inning started with a base hit to right field. 20th straight game he's reached base. That's the longest active streak in the National League. Last night, Brad Hand threw 84 pitches in the first 4 innings. David Phelps is about to throw his 84th pitch in the 4th inning. You see the Mets offense lately. And since the day they acquired Johnson and Uribe, right after Conforto was called up.
Well, they acquired Johnson and Uribe. Johnson played first, right? Uribe had a day or 2 off, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't play right away.
But he came off the bench.
Yeah.
And had a big hit.
Huge. You know, that ball that somehow stayed in the ballpark, right. Terry Collins said, off the top of the wall in Citi Field, left center field wall.
Johnson did a home run that first game up in the Pepsi porch. That was that 15-run barrage the Mets put on. And you know that got the whole thing started because just the night before, Clayton Kershaw had shut him out and things looked bleak. They had lost the first 2 games of that series to the Dodgers, and since then it's all been sunshine and roses. 8 wins in 10 games, including 5 straight wins. Granderson down on strikes. That ends the inning. 3rd strikeout for David Phelps. Mets lead 4-0 in the 4th. We're celebrating 10 years of Mets baseball on SNY. After the break, we'll go back and relive one of the thrilling moments from the past. ...2006, brought to you by Pepsi. Two to right. Into the air to center field. David going back to the warning track. It's over his head and the Mets win it. David Wright with a walk-off hit in the bottom of the 9th off Mariano Rivera. And the Mets have taken game 1 from the Yankees, 7-6. Earlier today, fans were asked to tweet their memories to @SNYTV using hashtag SNY10years. Today's tweet from Matt: got home from his Little League game in time to watch the last few innings. Epic indeed. It'll be nice perhaps to see David back in a Mets uniform sometime before the end of this season. I remember that game, Ronnie, right before David hit that ball. It was either you or Keith said Damon's playing too shallow.
I did. I said it, and I couldn't believe he was playing that shallow. You know, from playing all the games at Shea Stadium, I know exactly where you have to play or not play, especially against a guy who has some power. Now, granted, Mariano Rivera is so great. How many broken bat kind of hits does he give up? So maybe played a little shallow, but I just could not believe he was playing like as shallow as you play for Ruben Tejada.
Yeah, I think it was at that point in Damon's career more about him just having no faith in his arm.
You're right.
So he had to play more shallow and cheat in, and David took advantage of it. Christian Yelich will lead off for the Marlins in the bottom of the 4th. It's really 10 years. Every time I read that promo,
I know, because I mean, to me, it's gone very quickly. But
I mean, that season, that 2006 season, feels like it was, you know, a year or 2 ago.
Well, there were so many memories, and the team played so fantastic, and it was our first year, so you and I, Keith, were just getting to know each other. You know, I knew Keith from playing, but we certainly didn't know each other as broadcasters, so I didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth, and he didn't know what was going to come out of mine.
Well, we still know what's going to come out of his.
See, he's consistent at least. He's consistent at least.
Yelich bounces short his first time and fouls off the 2-0 fastball. So this weekend, Tropicana Field, you and Keith.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to be doing. You're going to take the weekend to recharge the batteries for the stretch run. Oh, right now we should have the music from the horse race, but no. And Keith and I are going to have fun. We're going to try to explain to you guys how the 3-ring circus works out there. There's a lot of little subtleties of that ballpark in St. Petersburg.
Technically, it's a 5-ring circus.
Yeah, right.
Murphy down to a knee, makes the play on Yelich, no way.
You know what would be good about that series? First, let's go to the pitchers in that series. DeGrom is going to face Jake Odorizzi. You see that great ERA. Syndergaard against Nathan Carnes, who's had a great rookie year. And Chris Archer. It's going to be fun to watch.
Odorizzi has the French-style ERA.
There you go. With the comma. Very nice. Maybe it's Euros.
Didn't know Odorizzi was a French name.
I could tell Euro in Italy.
Here's Justin Bour, and he pops one up. Tejada alone on the left side of the infield. One hands it for the second out.
You know what's going to be good for us in that series is that Keith and I both cut our teeth in St. Petersburg. I was traded so early in my career to the Mets, and we still played at Huggins Stengel Field, where the vaunted 27 Yankees played in the year. And then on 66th Street in St. Petersburg is where Keith, as a 17-year-old, started his professional career, and we both played in Al Lang Stadium. And
right, it used to be Yankees and Cardinals in St. Pete, and then the Yankees moved to Fort Lauderdale, and the Mets took their spot.
My favorite is George Thorogood was a huge Cardinal fan, but he started to fall in love with some of the Mets players, because the Mets, you could sense that they were going to have a pretty good ball club. And we all stayed at the same hotel, and every night he would have an impromptu, beautiful guitar session where we'd all go and listen to him.
1-2-3 inning for Matt Harvey. He's been a destroyer so far tonight. 4-0 Mets after 4. Superstar take an inside look at Jacob deGrom's success and his journey to stardom on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 4:30, only on SNY. Daniel Murphy leads off the fifth. Mets with a 4-0 lead. David Phelps still out there. 87 pitches through 4 innings. Murphy has singled to right, walked, and scored a run. And Murphy drives one deep to right, headed toward the corner near the wall, and it's off the fence. Murphy heads for second, and he's in standing or slightly sliding with a leadoff double. He was going and standing up, and then he saw the ball coming, and
well, first good swing by Murph, right on it, bullet off the top of the fence, played perfectly by Ichiro. And maybe 10 years ago, it might have thrown him out at second. Murphy had to turn it on, and you're right, kind of a half slide with the hands, grabbing the bag.
After almost being overlapped by Cespedes' last trip around the bases, he didn't want to get overlapped by Ichiro's throw either.
Listen, his head's spinning right now.
20th double of the year for Murphy. Mets have their 7th hit, and here's Cespedes, who drove in the first run with a base hit in the third.
Notice something about Cespedes, Gary? Does not get out of the box. Just stands in there, waits till the pitcher's ready, has an open stance. Okay, you ready? Here I go. No wasted motion in the way he plays this game.
Works with the speed up rules.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I was about to say before Murphy hit the double, this is strictly a case of the Marlins need innings from Phelps. Otherwise, you have to believe he'd be out of the game at this point. But after short stints from their starters the last 2 nights, they're going to ask him to give as much as he can.
They brought Chris Narveson up, right? So he's a former starter. Yeah.
That's Narveson with the Brewers. After that, he went to Japan last year. Now back in the big leagues for the first time.
I think this is going to be pretty loud. It's pretty loud here. The "Let's Go Mets" chants. Murphy runs over to hand off his pad to Tommy Goodwin. It's been unbelievably great here for if you're a Mets fan, if you're a Mets player, because you hear all the rumblings from the fans. It's certainly going to be the same way in Tampa Bay. There's a lot of Mets fans there also,
who don't get a chance to see the Mets nearly as often as the fans down here do. Popped up, and Gordon's right there. And Cespedes is retired, went away. Now Lucas Duda. Duda has walked and drilled a 2-run double. Murphy at second and 1 out. And the curveball misses to Duda. Let's look at tonight's Verizon trivia question. Well, it was 35 years ago today. I know that.
I know this one too, but well, it doesn't really count because the one we missed last night was just so egregious.
That was all me. I'm sorry.
Well, that was right, Stump Gary.
But the other thing about this question is, if you'll remember, last year when we played the battle of the broadcasters against the radio guys, this was one of the questions.
Yes. Did we get it right?
Yes.
Okay. Took those radio guys down.
Okay, Howie helped carry me this year.
Keith and I were one and done, one and undefeated.
We could probably swing you another invitation if you want.
It's been taken out of the contract, no longer. You and Howie are undefeated. You got to go until someone can take you down.
Well, he's not undefeated. We beat him last year, remember?
Interesting beauty shot there, right behind Harvey.
Well, that's real radio. You got to have wires. It's not about artificial backdrops. It's a call, strike 3-1. You know, when Madge sets up his equipment, he doesn't do it with a view toward aesthetics. It's all about functionality.
That's right.
The immortal Chris Madgkowski, longtime radio engineer. That's a strike 3-2. By the way, you know, Madge, it's right about this time of year in 1993 when he last missed a game. So he's now 22 years and counting. There's Madge. 22 years since he's missed a game.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I've missed one, and I'm so disappointed because that's going to go against my record forever. I had a little too much laughing gas at the dentist's office that
in
day.
L.A.
Oh my God! I remember coming to the ballpark. I mean, I couldn't have broadcast a game of Williamsport.
It's ball 4 to Duda, and he's on base for the third straight time. Third walk given up by Phelps. Now Juan Uribe, who's 0 for 2 tonight, lined out to right and grounded to short. So when you go to St. Petersburg to watch the Rays tomorrow night, you know, they've been sort of a no-name team this year.
Friday night, not tomorrow.
Right,
off day tomorrow. Yeah.
they've been sort of a no-name team this year, but they just called up their first-round draft pick from a couple of years ago, Richie Schaefer, who last night in his second major league game hit his first major league home run.
I saw the home run, and I'm paying more attention because I've got to pay attention. I got this weekend to not fall on my face. I'm paying attention. Hits it over the right field wall. I'm saying, boy, what kind of power for a right-handed hitter. And afterwards, it was awesome listening to him talk about the home run.
Uribe deep to left toward the wall. That's out of here. Juan Uribe with a long 3-run homer. His second as a Met, his 10th of the season, and the Mets have a 7-0 lead in the 5th inning. That was a bomb.
This team is leading the world in high fives right now. I mean, everything coming up roses. You hang a pitch, see you later. You trying to come inside, you better come inside with something more than 92.
He almost went down to the Adrian Beltre one knee stance for this home run.
This reminded me of the home run he hit as a San Francisco Giant to win them that first World Series, I believe, in 2010. Hit it off maybe Cliff Lee. Long shot in San Francisco.
Well, that was just crushed. And that's going to be all for David Phelps, who had himself a simply miserable night at the office. He's out after 4 1/3. Third straight night a Marlins pitcher has exited before 5 innings. Uribe knocks him out. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. .33-year-old Chris Narveson will throw his first big league pitch in a couple of years.
Worked his way back up into the big leagues. Had his best years as a starter in Milwaukee. Won 12 games one season.
Michael Conforto, the batter, against him, and he takes a strike. Conforto had a sacrifice fly in the third. Narveson pitched in Japan last year for the Hanshin Tigers. And now making his Marlins debut tonight. Conforto bounces one down to Bohr at first, and that's the second out, and we check in. So Conforto retired. 2 out. And now Kevin Plawecki. Anyway, you were talking about Richie Schaefer and his home run last night.
Well, it was just amazing to one, he had that kind of power. Know we're going to see him this weekend. did his post-game interview, so I could hear him speak, what was going on there, and as excited as you see anyone when they hit their first home run. Pretty cool.
And nice reactions by his teammates.
Yeah.
They gave him the silent treatment after the home run, and then while he was doing the post-game interview, they gave him the full Gatorade treatment.
Well, on the bench, they gave him kind of the scrum that he couldn't be involved in. And they were all huddled together, arms around each other, led by, of course, Evan Longoria, their de facto captain. Had all their arms around each other, and Schaefer comes on the bench, there's nowhere to get in, and then finally they gave him a little opening, pushed him in the middle, and jumped up and down. It was pretty cool to see.
Milwaukee lifts one to right, and Ichiro right near the line. Pulls it in. That retires the side. So Narveson retires his 2 batters, but Juan Uribe's blast breaks the game open. Halfway through, 7-0 Mets. On the Tampa Bay Rays, our coverage begins Friday night at 6 o'clock right here on SNY. For more on the Rays, let's check in with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by StubHub. Steve?
Well, you guys talking a lot about Schaefer. Made his debut a couple of nights ago. That's been the way of the season for the Rays. 17 rookies making their debuts this season. That's a new Rays record. And, you know, listen, you also saw earlier in the game the ERAs of the guys the Mets will be facing this season. The starting pitching has not been the problem for Tampa Bay in the least bit. 71 times this year, the Tampa Bay Rays starters have given up 2 runs or less, but the team just not scoring any runs this year. One thing to watch, one player to watch, I should say, is Kevin Kiermaier, who in center field is having maybe the best defensive season of anybody in the major leagues. In terms of defensive runs saved, he's far and away the best at that statistic in the major leagues. Ichiro drives this one. Conforto makes the grab. But he has a defensive run saved coming into today 10 higher than Andrelton Simmons, which just gives you an idea of how good he's been. 12 outfield assists and 11 triples by him at the plate this year. The last outfielder to have 12 outfield assists and 12 triples, Carlos Beltran, back in 2001. Been a while.
Good point, Steve. Kiermaier is talented. Great, not only with throwing the ball. He won a game for them the other day.
Echeverria drives one to right. Granderson back to grab it. Boy, Curtis has just been great in right field over the last few days. That's the second out. There's the AL East standings.
Not only throwing the ball for Kiermaier, but also he is a great center fielder. One of those guys that seems to be a human highlight film every night.
Rays lost this afternoon after coming back from a 5-run deficit against the White Sox. but now 2.5 out in the wild card. Well, the Rays pitching has been awfully good. I mean, not just the starters. Bullpen led by Brad Boxberger has been good, but they're second to last in the American League in runs scored.
Got a rookie manager in Kevin Cash, who's I think 36 years old. 36. I was just finished playing. He's at the helm.
Jeff Mathis skies one to left. Conforto right there waiting. 3 fly ball outs for Matt Harvey in a 6-pitch inning, and he sets him down 1-2-3 after 5. Mets rolling 7-0. Juan Uribe a 3-run homer. Lucas Duda a 2-run double. 5 scoreless innings for Matt Harvey. Mets going for the sweep here in Miami and well on their way with a 7-0 lead as we go to the 6th. Ruben Tejada's already 2 for 2 tonight. A single and a double, and Chris Narveson gets one over for a strike. Narveson working it back with David Phelps, who went 4 1/3, allowed 7 runs, 8 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a monstrous home run off the bat of Uribe that ended his night.
It's hard for me to even blame these Marlins pitchers. They've just run into a buzzsaw. A team that is playing as good as they've played all year. They're on top of their game right now. They're just, you get to a point occasionally on a team, and it can change on a dime, where you just don't feel like you can be beat. I don't care who's out there. We'll figure out a way to bloody that guy too. I mean, that's how you feel.
Now, how much of that is simply that they have more and better hitters in their lineup right now, and how much of that is the notion of, you know what, management went out and they gave us some pieces, let's go?
That's definitely part of it, because you know what, I think management, they have to understand this, but there's a lot of chirping that goes on in the clubhouse because it's just so many hours spent without playing the game from 7:10 to 10:10. These guys are getting here at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a lot of chirping about what you need, what you don't need, this and that. Usually it's a waste of time. But when a team is really struggling, you're looking for a life preserver. You really are. The team knows it's drowning, and anything that they get is a plus. And to get 2 players like Uribe and Johnson, and then you couple that up with, you know, we don't know if it's going to be a steal because of the 2 young pitchers that went to Detroit, but you just don't get many times a hitter like Cespedes, a player like Cespedes. I've already seen, plays the game a lot different level than we've been watching all season long.
Without question. He's a special player. Tejada hits another one a long way to center. This time Yelich will have it lined up. Ruben feeling like power tonight. First time has been retired in this game.
Trying to think of what's the Panamanian equivalent of Wheaties for Ruben Tejada.
So 1 out now, Matt Harvey. You know, I've used this stat before. If you look at the game in Washington, which has taken a long time to unfold. Matt has made 56 starts before tonight. In 27 of those 56 starts, he's allowed either no runs or 1 run. Think about that. Nearly half of his starts, he's allowed no runs or 1 run. 27 of them, and yet he has only 21 career wins.
He's 21 and 17. He should have record numbers for a guy in his first 56 starts. Record numbers.
Now, pitching for this fortified team, maybe those wins will start to pile up.
Well, I always remind people, you know, I was very fortunate that, other than 83, I was very fortunate that the teams I pitched for were very good teams, solid teams that scored some runs, that played some defense. They were not 500 teams. They were above 500 every year I was there.
By the way, the only pitcher in the last 100 years who's had that many 0 or 1 run starts in his first 56 starts, the guy you pitched with.
Yeah, and check his record out as Harvey goes down.
Let's check in with the studio. Michelle Yu has a game break brought to you by Honda. Gio Gonzalez going tonight for the Nationals, who, judging by some of their comments, sounds like they might be feeling a little bit of heat right now.
Well, they're getting some heat because the people that have been following them, or the prognosticators that look at them as a 100-win team, are starting to not jump ship, but at least starting to ask some pointed questions that they're getting kind of sick of answering, to tell you the truth.
Well, Jason Worth said it yesterday. He said, we're still the team to beat, which is unusual for somebody whose team has just fallen out of first place. But you understand it. They're supposed to win, and you're right. They're probably sick of being asked about it right about now.
You know, Gary, they're coming from a different place. It's World Series or bust for them this year. It's for the Mets, it's a different thing. Not that they don't want a World Series or bust either, but there was a different expectation, at least in the offseason.
Right. Granderson 1 for 3 tonight, and he takes a call, 3rd strike, and so Narvaez has looked awfully good in relief. He's retired 5 in a row. But Matt Harvey and the Mets have a 7-0 lead as we head for the bottom of the 6th in Miami. Home sixth inning. Matt Harvey's given up just 2 hits through the first 5. A double to Derek Dietrich in the first. An infield hit to D. Gordon in the third. No walks. 3 strikeouts. And a big lead to work with. And the pitcher Narveson will bat for himself, which gives you an idea where the Marlins are at this point. They're just trying to get through the game.
Narveson, by the way, against Harvey, it's hard, but he can rake. This season, I told you, he won 12 games, batted over 300 that year with 16 hits.
Fast bat there. Lifetime .227 hitter in 110 major league at bats. How come he didn't win the Silver Slugger that year? He had .327. You should win a Silver Slugger, right?
Part of winning the Silver Slugger is also having an outstanding year. It's kind of like the Gold Glove used to be. Remember, it's kind of an offensive, or maybe still is, offensive defensive year.
Well, I remember the year Rafael Palmeiro won a Gold Glove and he played 28 games at first base.
That's right.
That's before he pointed his finger. D. Gordon on deck, then Derek Dietrich in the 6th. And Narveson down swinging. Strikeout number 4 for Matt Harvey, who's now retired 8 in a row. Now it's Gordon, who topped a dribbler up the third baseline for an infield hit in the third. His 21st hit against the Mets this season. Now has 128 hits, which leads the National League.
Leads it after missing some time with that bad thumb.
And he has cooled off a bit from his early season when he was hitting well over 350, but nonetheless having himself a fine year.
Less around him with Stanton out of lineup.
That's pulled foul. And I think Gordon's second half bears watching, because last year he had a really good first half for the Dodgers and tailed off quite a bit the second half.
Well, he's a wiry player that playing in these 162 game schedules, he loves to play every day, and he's a gamer. I love the way he plays. Sometimes these smallish players get beat up during the year.
Matt ahead 0-2.
But I think D has learned what Billy Hamilton has not learned yet, and that is keep the ball out of the air, hit the ball on the ground, use that speed. Know what kind of player you are.
Dad was Flash.
Oh, I remember coming up, you'd hear about him. He's a little younger than I am, and his minor league numbers. I think he struck out 17 in a game once in the minor leagues.
So the question is, who's flashier, right? The fireballer or the kid with the great speed? I wonder if they have that conversation within the family. That's lying the other way at foul ball.
Well, I think the jury's still out. He's still in the middle of his career. But when Gordon was in the minor leagues, he was in the minor leagues with Kansas City, right? I mean, far and wide, you heard stories about this kid for the Kansas City Royals that just strikes out the world. And he ended up finding his strength became as a bullpen guy. Always had that great overhand curveball. I don't know why I say that, as opposed to the underhand curveball.
Well, as opposed to the 3/4 or sidearm. Hit hard foul. Well, Tom Gordon, when he first came up, was a starter, and he went back and forth early in his career for Kansas City. In fact, his rookie year in '89, when he finished second in the Rookie of the Year balloting, he won 17 games, but he only made 16 starts and 33 relief appearances. So he had a very ambiguous role.
Some good fortune.
Went to Boston, Cubs, wound up with the Phillies near the end of his career, which is when the Mets saw a lot of him. Murphy handles the grounder and almost lost him, and he did lose him. Murphy just took too much time. He forgot it was running.
honestly, if I were the Mets, I would not challenge his play to teach Murphy a lesson.
I think he was out, and Terry is going to challenge it. But I think you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe because of the score, because of the game, because who's pitching. I don't know if it's enough to overturn it because that ball in the leather.
Yeah, it's got to be in the back of the glove as opposed to just disappearing into the glove. Well, the Marlins lost a challenge early in the game. And interestingly, Gordon is running off the field right now. I don't know if that's because he thinks he's out, or if he's just going for an exchange of equipment.
Maybe just taking off his gear. Oh no, he's going down the steps. Maybe they're going to pinch run for him.
Oh, take him out in the lopsided game?
Yeah.
Could be. Now let's see if there is a runner to be run for. I think he's out.
Yeah, he's out. He's definitely
by a
out.
considerable margin. And it may be that D already saw the replay on the board and has already conceded the point. And we should have a call now.
Just you can't do that.
He is overturned, and so it goes in the Mets' favor. And Murph gets to shed a little embarrassment.
He pointed to himself. He pointed to himself, said it's my bad. But you know, that's this game. There could be a game in September. Maybe learning from that play right there makes it happen that it won't happen in September.
Maybe. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Dietrich, who has one of the 2 hits against Harvey tonight. He hit a curveball into right for a 1-out double back in the first.
And kudos to D. Gordon. 7-0 game, running as hard as he can on a routine ground ball to second base. That says a lot more about D. Gordon, the man.
I think you're right. You know, I was thinking to myself, that's a big part of his game. He beats out routine infield grounders, but more so if you hit one to short.
Yeah.
You're going to run hard and think you can get an infield hit out of it. Ground ball to second, you're more likely to break it down in a game like this.
Listen, they've lost the first 2 games of the series. They're getting blown out in this series. This is one where 90% of baseball players would break it down on the way to first. He did not. Another reason why I like him.
One and 2 to Dietrich. Struck him out. Nasty slider from Harvey to get him. 5 strikeouts for Matt. He's now retired 10 in a row. After 6, 7-0 Mets. Daniel Murphy leads off in the 7th against Chris Narveson. Murph's been on base 3 straight times tonight. Single, walk, double. He scored 2 runs. Got a fair amount of ribbing in the dugout after that play in the last half inning. And to Murph's credit, he took full responsibility.
Yeah, he did.
You know, you get into big games in September or October, that can't happen. Out to left field, and Dietrich is right there. Murph retired for the first time tonight. It's the best online source for Mets information with a constant flow of Mets news and opinion, featuring game breakdowns, special features, and player profiles. Mets blog presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Yoenis Cespedes, who singled in the first Met run in their 4-run third. Juan Uribe hit a 3-run homer in the 5th, and the Mets have been rolling ever since. And Cespedes has another base hit. Second hit of the night for Cespedes, his 6th in this 3-game series. Here are tonight's starters, brought to you by People's United Bank. Matt Harvey right on point tonight. Had a rough first inning, trying to find his cadence, but he's been great ever since. David Phelps, on the other hand, had a very rough outing.
1 walk for the starters in this series.
That was in the East last night. Cologne walked none. Harvey has walked none. Full shift against Duda, who's been on base 3 straight times, 2 walks and a 2-run double. So Narveson had retired his first 6 before Cespedes hit that rope. To center field, and Yelich is there. 2 out. So Duda's retired for the first time tonight. And back to first goes Cespedes.
This is a good ballpark for Chris Narveson, by the way. It's a guy that'll give up some fly balls. This park plays so big, except for Juan Uribe.
Well, Uribe hit one over the Clevelander sign his last time up. Almost took out Jackie Robinson's number 42 out in left field.
A lefty out there had a shot at it, but just going too fast.
I'm telling you, I couldn't have caught that.
No, it was flying.
Speaking for the general citizens.
Yes. The layperson.
Yes. Those of us who have no talent. Uribe's home run was his 2nd as a Met, his 10th of the year. He's homered for 3 different teams this season. Dodgers, Braves, and now Mets. He doesn't get cheated.
No, he doesn't. You know, I think when you look at his swing, you say to yourself, boy, you know, he just seems to swing hard all the time. That's it. But his average is good. He's got a high average.
You know, watching him from afar, seeing him 3 or 6 games a year, it always seemed as though he was very undisciplined. But watching all of his at-bats the last couple of weeks, it's not exactly like that.
And he also has a now he might not have it here because it's a 7-0 game, but he has a different approach with 2 strikes also. Called the world's greatest teammate by many.
36 years old, and he makes people smile, and he can hit. Still has a really good glove at third base. Came up as a shortstop.
2 world championship teams, right? The White Sox in 05 and 2010 Giants.
It's on the 5-year plan.
There you go.
Situated
That's
perfectly.
Right.
Narveson gets him with a breaking ball for his 3rd strikeout. 2 good innings of relief for Narveson. Stretch time in Miami. 7-0 Mets. outscored the Marlins 24-2 in the 3 games. Christian Yelich leads off as we go to the bottom of the 7th. And Harvey's retired 10 in a row. He's gotten Yelich twice on ground balls tonight. Meanwhile, they're in the 6th inning in Washington with the Nats still leading the Diamondbacks 2-1. Another ground ball due to Harvey for the first out. And that's 11 straight for Matt. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Who had 3 triples in a game? Well, that was Doug Flynn.
No more for his glove than for his offense.
In Montreal 35 years ago tonight.
He also was a great singer.
Yes, country western guy.
That's right.
Gold Glove second baseman, could also play some shortstop. He was one of the 4 players the Mets got in the Seaver deal from Cincinnati.
Steve Henderson, Doug Flynn, Dan Norman, and Pat Zachary.
That's right.
Okay. I'm getting better at this stuff. He got at that shift against Bohr when his first at bat hit a bullet to right field. That was that first inning where Matt was a little out of sorts.
Came with a runner at 3rd and 2 out, and that's as close as the Marlins have come to scoring tonight. Bohr takes a strike. By the way, talking about the Nationals leading Arizona tonight, they have another game in that series tomorrow, and then the Nats stay home to play the Rockies over the weekend, and then the Rockies come to Citi Field for 4 games starting on Monday. Mets have not seen the Rockies this year. It's the only team in the National League that haven't played. They've got a young star in Nolan Arenado.
Charlie Blackmon's played well.
They've got, I mean, Blackmon's been so good, they're keeping him in the leadoff spot and hitting Ray a second, which I think is interesting.
DJ LeMahieu has kind of broken out as a second baseman. Always, I think he won a Gold Glove.
And he's in 320 this year. And of course, they still have Carlos Gonzalez. So there's, they still got firepower. 3-2 coming. And Bohr dumps one foul. Change up from Harvey.
3-2 change. That tells you what Harvey thinks about Bohr and what he's done to him so far early in his career.
Well, remember, he hung a slider to Bohr and he hit it out of the ballpark. I don't think he's thrown him a slider tonight.
There's a slider. Now, there'd be a day that you wouldn't be tempted to do this, but in today's game, with a game 7-0, there's no way you're going to finish it anyway to get a shutout. Many years ago, you would still be thinking about, boy, I'd love to get a shutout here because we seem to have the game locked.
Lots of room out in left center for Cespedes. And Bohr is retired, 2 out.
But Harvey did exactly what you're supposed to do. Throw the ball away, let him hit the big part of the park. If he goes out, he goes out. Did you see that throw by Cespedes from center field? Can we see that again? That was hilarious. It's like fast pitch softball.
Like Eddie Fader?
Yeah. Yeah. Watch this throw in. There's the catch.
The king in his court.
That's beautiful. He's got some flair. I love entertaining players.
There's Prado, who's 0 for 2. Harvey's now retired 12 in a row. So Harvey's at 85. That's his 86th pitch of the night. He's got a 7-0 lead. He's on an innings limit this year. How far would you push him tonight?
I think this would be his last inning personally. 7 innings is a good amount of work. He's going to be up close to around 100 pitches. I think you got to. I'm sorry, folks. I can't talk when I hear that song. You might want to see O'Flaherty tonight for an inning.
Strike 3 called. Well, we'll find out. And right up around 90 pitches through 7, and pitching a gem tonight, working on a 2-hit shutout. He's retired 13 in a row. innings limits for their pitchers because their starters have been so good. They've thrown by far the most innings of any staff in the major leagues.
Well, that's the issue. I mean, what are you going to do? There's been two things that have happened. One, they've been so good, but also because of the lack of Mets offense before this turn, you had to keep them in the ball game because it was a tight game. They were your best alternative.
Not looking forward to leading off the 8th. Grounds one to the right side. Gordon's got it. One away. Bobby Parnell getting ready in the Mets bullpen. So it looks like Harvey is done. Watching Terry Collins talk to him in the dugout.
Super quality start, by the way.
Yeah. 7 innings. No runs tonight. Just 88 pitches. And he'll also get an extra day before his next start with the off day tomorrow. So his next start will be Tuesday against Colorado. And then that would put him in line to pitch the last game of the series Sunday against the Pirates. Unless Milwaukee lifts one to left and Dietrich has room. Boy, he looks awkward out there. And there are 2 out. Unless the Mets decide that next week is the time that they want to plug in an additional starting pitcher, which is something they're going to do at some point this month. And after the off day tomorrow, they've got the weekend in Tampa and then 7 straight home games without an off day, but then there's an off day after that.
I personally, this is me now, I wait a little bit before the plugging in of the starter because of the offensive firepower of the Colorado Rockies. They've had some problems pitching, of course, this year. And then the Pirates are one of the best teams in the game.
Well, the thing about, you've got 10 straight games without an off day starting on Friday. Yeah. But then you have 2 off days in a 4-day span the following week. The Mets have a 2-game series in Baltimore with off days Monday and Thursday. So that creates extra rest right there.
And we showed what the records are going to be of the teams that the Mets are going to be facing. They'll have some other teams that would give an alternative starter a better chance to have success. How's that sound?
Well, right now, if you were to plug somebody in, it would probably be either Dylan G or Logan Verrett. So we'll see. Right now, the Mets are just on such a roll. You hate to break up what's working.
No.
Meanwhile, Chris Narveson has given Dan Jennings exactly what he has needed. 3 1/3 innings of 1-hit relief to save the rest of that bullpen.
Narveson's going to be in the rotation the next time they go around. Just from this outing right here.
33-year-old with lots of starting experience in the major league. And Tejada lines one the other way, and he's got himself his 3rd hit of the night. Cruises into second base with his 2nd double of the game, and Ruben Tejada just keeps on raking, particularly against Miami.
Oh, what a great job by our truck. They focused on Tejada and his success this year against the Marlins. Some teams you just have it against, and he's had their number all season long. Tremendous.
Now Eric Campbell's going to bat for Matt Harvey. So Harvey is out after 7 innings, allowed no runs and 2 hits, didn't walk a batter, struck out 6, retired his last 13, and he'll save the rest of his bullets for another day. Matt is in line for his 10th win of the year. Campbell had the big hit last night in a 1-1 game in the 8th inning. He dumped one into left field to drive in the go-ahead run. Diamondbacks just scored 2 runs in the top of the 6th. A bunt, single, and an error, scoring the 2 runs. And the Diamondbacks have gone in front 3-2 and now tacked on another one. It's now 4-2.
Wow.
As they bat in the 6th. So that's good news for the Mets. And Campbell down on strikes to end the inning. 4th strikeout for Narveson. A double in 1 left. Mets go to the bullpen as we head to the bottom of the 8th, up 7-0. Is brought to you by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Speak with Steve Dukoff in Bayside or Joseph DeMonda in Wantagh today. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets, and by Delta Dugout. Sign up today at Mets.com/Delta Dugout. Love the music.
Great, right?
Outstanding. Really gives you a good sense of place.
It's like the Estefans are here.
And in the lime green walls here, and it's you're in Miami. Bobby Parnell in to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Parnell pitched better on Saturday night against the Nationals, but his prior 3 outings were not very good. Remember that comeback game by the San Diego Padres was a big part of that game, giving up 3 runs. Needs a good outing. Back to back.
Ichiro slaps one foul, and it's 0-2. So Matt Harvey, with his 7 scoreless innings tonight, lowers his ERA for the season to 2.76, which at the moment puts him in the top 10 in the National League. Murphy gets in front of this and gets Ichiro by a considerable margin. 1 out. A.J. Ramos, the Marlins closer, is up. He hasn't worked in this series, so it looks like he'll get the top of the 9th. Here's Echeverria, who's 0 for 2. Fly deep to right his last time up. Echeverria 0 for 8 in this series. Came into the series on a big high, hitting a walk-off home run on Sunday against the Padres. And the breaking ball hit slowly. Uribe on the chart. Nice barehand pickup, and he got him. No, off the bag. Late call by John Tumpain. It's like he was about to punch him out.
I don't know about that. I thought he had him. Let's see where Duda is.
Boy, he looked like he's
on the
bag, and the Mets may challenge this. They've already won a challenge tonight. He's out. He did not lose contact with the bag.
No, but I think he's calling him safe because he beat the play out. But no,
Terry's going to challenge him.
Okay.
It's a nice pickup by Duda off the barehand play by Uribe.
Yeah, it's a tough play, right?
Yeah, it's tougher than I thought.
If it hadn't bounced, he's out. But the bounce just delayed it a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. They may not overturn this. Play under review brought to you by Mazda. That last leap, like ball hit glove and foot hit bag just about the same time.
See, for us guys, folks, when we're looking from the booth, we will see 2 kind of, out or safe we'll see from the umpire. But another thing we'll see occasionally for the umpire, if he thinks the runner's off the bag, he'll do like a wave like he was off the bag. Tumpain never did that, so his call is that Echeverria beat the play. I don't know if there's enough to bring it back.
The only thing that threw me on that is that he waited so long to make the call, because usually if it's an out safe call, they'll do it immediately. Yeah. They're not going to stop to think about it, but if the first baseman comes off the bag, then they might wait a beat before they make the call, and Tumpain waited a long time before he gave the safe sign.
I only know this because my father was an umpire when I was a kid, and fans used to scream at him while I was at the ballpark. But there's 2 sounds they're listening for: the ball to hit the glove, the foot to hit the bag. What I think what happened to Tumpain, the ball was so close to being caught in the glove by Duda, it hit the dirt first, and I think that's what delayed, that sound delayed his decision.
So it was the 3rd sound.
Yeah.
Kind of like the second spin. So we wait. Mets have been on the positive end of 2 reviews tonight. The Marlins lost their review in the 1st inning. Mets won theirs in the 6th.
I'm thinking umpires ever standing there and going, geez, I've been reviewed 5 times this week. 4 of them have gone against me. Come on.
I'm just not sure.
Stay with me.
I'm not sure I understand why they have to have 2 umpires on headset. They're not making the call. Is it just for redundancy in case one of the headsets doesn't work? The 2 crews in New York, Jim Joyce's crew and Jerry Meals' crew, are still mulling this one over.
You got to always have Lenny Briscoe too in there. You can't just have one detective. You have them both.
got to stay safe. Yeah.
And it confirmed the call. So Echeverria gets credit for an infield hit, his first hit in this series.
It's too bad it takes away a really nice play by Uribe to not only get to that ball but make a strong throw. Just too much speed for Echeverria.
Wry smile from Uribe. So 1 out and 1 on, and now Jeff Mathis will bat for the third time. He's grounded out and flied out. Pitcher spot due up next, and Casey McGee is out on deck as Mathis takes Sloan away. Here's McGee, who started the first 2 games of this series. The infield hit for Echeverria, just the 3rd hit of the night for Miami. And 2 of the 3 have been infield hits. The only hit that left the outfield was the 2nd batter of the night for Miami, Derek Dietrich, who drilled a double to right. And only 2 base runners since, both on dribblers to third.
You know, they're giving the bag to Echeverria, defensive indifference. You got to take it with 1 out because you don't want your hitter grounding into a double play. They're giving it to you. He's got great speed.
Parnell behind 3-1. Its bullpen had some rough going coming out of the All-Star break, but now refortified with the additions of Clippard and O'Flaherty. And Familia's been back on the beam the last 3 outings. There is the newest Met, Eric O'Flaherty, just arrived about an hour before the game today. And looks like he'll make his debut momentarily.
You know, they asked Tyler Clippard what he saw in O'Flaherty. He said, listen, I know his numbers against righty, he struggled. He's still as great as he's always been against lefties. And he had a shoulder strain in the beginning of the year, and he said that he's throwing harder now than he's thrown all season long.
Well, remember, O'Flaherty had Tommy John surgery 2 years ago. He didn't return until late last year, so he is still on that recovery path. But I think the most telling thing is that even in his worst of times this year, he has still been effective getting left-hand hitters out.
Left-handers over his career, I've hit 201, I think is the number. And he had that 1 year, I think it was 2011, with Johnny Venters and Craig Kimbrell. And he was unbelievable. Over 70 appearances that year. His ERA was under 1.
3-2 coming. And 2 high ball 4. First walk of the night given up by Met pitching. And the Marlins have a couple of men on with McGee coming up. Let's check in with the studio. Michelle Yu has another game break brought to you by Ford. Found Aaron Barrett's Achilles heel, like so many pitchers.
Yeah.
Certainly the Mets had trouble hitting him. He looked awfully good in that last couple of series. Here's McGee, who hits a slow one toward third. Uribe's play is to first. Not sure he required the bare hand, but he used it nicely and gets the second out as the runners move up.
Well, I call this the post Omar Vizquel period, and he was so good at the bare hand. I think he's changed the game. A lot of these infielders just feel it's the same as fielding it with their glove to make it with their bare hand. Certainly you didn't have to do it there with the speed of McGee.
Well, fortunately for McGee, he hit that ball softly because McGee has grounded it to 17 double plays this year, and that could have been 18. Now, with the left-hand hitter Gordon coming up, Terry Collins will come out, and this is a perfect spot for him to bring in Eric O'Flaherty, whose job it is to get left-hand hitters out, and he'll be called on here to make his Mets debut. O'Flaherty to the mound when we come back. debut.
Well, the numbers are ugly, 1-2 and 5.91, but anyone who has watched him as a Mets fan in a Braves uniform knows what he can do, and hopefully find some new life here as a left-handed specialist for the Mets.
Echeverria and Mathis in scoring position. D. Gordon the batter. Gordon 1 for 3, an infield hit tonight. And O'Flaherty's first pitch fastball in for a strike.
It's right where he's been of late, around that 90 miles an hour with that four-seamer. Also has a two-seamer, slider, and a changeup. There's that 2011 season.
0.98.
Whoa.
But even this year, the lefty's hitting just 186 against him. Slapped in the air. Conforto over near the line. And that retires the side. So O'Flaherty gets his man in his Mets debut and keeps the shutout intact. On to the ninth, 7-0 Mets. At 4 in the 6th, and they lead the Nats 5-2 now in the bottom of the 6th. Giants behind Madison Bumgarner lead the Braves. That game's now in the bottom of the 8th, and Johnny Cueto pitching well but trailing as the Royals are down 2-1 to the Tigers in the 8th. A.J. Ramos on to pitch the top of the 9th, and Curtis Granderson greets him with a bullet into right field for his second hit of the night. So Ramos has been struggling lately, getting an inning of work and greeted rudely.
Took over for Steve Cishek when he was sent to the minor league. Cishek now in St. Louis. Ramos took the reins, was very good, but like you said, Gary, struggled a little of late.
Here's Murphy, who's 2 for 3 tonight, a single, a double, and a walk. He scored 2 runs. Mets now with 11 hits on the night. Mets put together a 4-run third. Cespedes drove in a run. Duda a double to bring in 2. Conforto a sacrifice fly. And then in the 5th inning, Juan Uribe lost 1 to bring home 3 runs.
Is my memory right? 38 hits in this series. 15, 12, 11.
That's correct. Wow. 24 runs, 38 hits. Mets continue to put up offensive numbers unseen most of this year.
You know, for you folks that are trying to think, how do these games affect the Nationals, who are trying to get it together. Well, I wouldn't say they affect them too much on the field, but this is one thing that'll go through the dugout. The Mets are winning again? I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens.
Well, Bryce Harper said he doesn't give a you know what.
I know what the truth is. I've been in the dugouts.
Well, what Bryce was trying to say though was hey,
to be fair,
we can only worry about ourselves. Right. That was his point. But the way it came out was, you know.
Well, he's a lightning rod. Anything he says, they'll take it and they'll turn it, twist it. He really said, I don't care about the Mets, the Giants, any team. We're scuffling right now. We need to play better. That's all really it was. So.
But I've said this before. Harper sets himself up so well to be the heel.
He does.
You know?
He does. Someone's got to be the heel.
Right.
MVP heel.
Well, that's okay. By the way, we mentioned tonight, since he hasn't been in the game, that on the off day tomorrow, Wilmer Flores will turn 24. So happy birthday, Wilmer. Enjoy your off day. 24 with folk hero status. Murphy cranks one foul.
Go to the box score first.
Well, it's another entertaining box score for the Mets. Brought to you by Land Rover. 3 hits for Tejada. A couple of RBIs for Duda. Uribe the big blow, a 3-run homer. Granderson keeps rolling, on base 20 straight games.
Come on, Harv. 0 for 3.
Hey, if the Mets get into a world where they don't have to rely on their pitchers for offense, all will be right.
That's right.
For too long, if they didn't help themselves, there was no other help forthcoming. Eighth pitch of the at bat coming to Murphy. And there'll be another one.
You know, it really works well for Wilmer, because usually when you have a baseball during their season, you don't ever get to really celebrate it. So to have an off day is just fantastic. Worst birthday I ever had in professional baseball. We were facing the Giants. It was the night before. Eddie Lynch said, let's go to Lefty O'Doul's. Let's have a beer and celebrate your birthday. I said, you know, I really feel like doing it tonight. Let's do it in San Diego. We go to San Diego tomorrow. That'd be a better place to do it.
Murphy hits one hard, another base hit. Third hit of the night for Daniel Murphy. And the Mets have the first 2 men on against Ramos, who's really struggling right now.
Giant game goes extra innings. We get on the plane. Something wrong mechanically with the plane. We don't get to San Diego till 12:05. So the whole day went by with nothing. Never made that mistake.
You know,
again.
most baseball players don't love the whole idea of birthdays.
That's right.
Because after all, your careers are so limited in terms of the number of years that you can play, that every birthday brings you a little closer to the end.
That's right.
Here's Cespedes, who already has 2 hits and an RBI tonight, and takes the breaking ball for a strike.
As Connor Oberst said, at some point we're all betrayed by the calendar, and that's what happens to ball players.
Which brings us to NYN Cespedes, who's 29 and is in that unique position of becoming a free agent after this season, even though it's only his 4th year.
How does that work again?
Well, he has to be released before the end of the World Series, so it's not as though you can let him go on the free agent market and re-sign him. If you're going to re-sign him,
you got to do it before.
Got to do it before the end of the World Series. And you know, he's in that position that's nubbed, and Ramos going to second with it, gets the out there, and that's all they'll get. So 1-4 on the forced play on Murphy for the first down. It's Granderson goes to third.
Just off the end of the bat on this little changeup from Ramos. Nice athletic play, getting that ball to second. Cespedes is trying to pull a Beltran here.
Well, that's what I was about to say. He's in that position where a great last 2 months and maybe a great last 3 months, if the Mets make it to October, could win him an enormous amount of money.
Yes.
I mean, he's already going to get a big contract from somebody, whether it's the Mets or somebody else, but you put together a big finish and show that you can, you know, help a team win. Makes a huge difference.
Well, it takes a lot of parts, but that was a really cool graphic we showed, is that he's a winning player. He's played with a lot of winning players, but he's part of he's a big part of that piece.
Granderson at third, Cespedes at first and 1 out. Duda, a 2-run double and a pair of walks tonight. 1 for 2. And Duda hits one to deep center field. Yelich got turned around when he finds it, and he makes the catch. Tagging at third, Granderson. He comes in to score the 8th Met run. Duda with a 3 RBI night, tacks on a sacrifice fly, and it's 8-0.
Boy, all 8 runs scored by the first 5 hitters. Good hitting there. When it left the bat in this ballpark, you think, boy, that has a chance to be a home run when they hit it. And then you figure it in this ballpark and you know it's just an out.
Here's Uribe, who made it look small his last time up. Tonight after the post game, Chris Carlin and Geico Sports Night. Breathable fabrics for new pants. That's Chris. Echeverria to Gordon for the force play that ends the top of the 9th. And now the Mets will try and register the final 3 outs of a sweep of 8-0 in Miami. Up 8-0. Eric O'Flaherty, who got the final out of the 8th, stays on to face left-hand batters in the 9th. Derek Dietrich 1 for 3, and he pulls one foul, broke his bat in doing so. 0-1. Sunday on Jets Nation Inside Camp, get a complete breakdown of Saturday's green and white scrimmage with highlights, analysis, and exclusive interviews, plus all the latest developments straight from camp on Jets Nation Inside Camp. Sunday at 7 only on SNY. You know, I'm missing this weekend in Tampa Bay. Yes. So is our friend Mark Carrig, who covers the Mets for Newsday. He's got a much better reason than I do.
Yeah.
He's getting married this weekend.
Whoa.
So good luck to Mark and his bride.
She knows he covers the Mets and is gone all the time. She does, right?
I don't think he's kept it a secret.
Okay.
Mark is one of the terrific people who we get to see every day.
Smart kid.
One of the joys of this job. Hansel Robles up in the Mets bullpen. Pulled toward the hole, and Dietrich has his second hit of the night. And it only took him 2 broken bats to get there. So he'll have to replenish his supply, but he'll gladly trade 2 for 1.
Yeah, he'll take it.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Yelich is 0 for 3 tonight. The Mets are trying to do something they haven't done all year. Not only have they not swept a 3-game road series this year, they haven't even won 3 straight games on the road at any point this season.
That's almost impossible.
Well, they came into the series 17-32 on the road.
And if they win this game, I don't know why we have to say that. I guess you always have to say that because you never know baseball. I did play in this game, not played but watched it. 10-6 in their last 16 games on the road. That's trending where they need to trend.
Well, we said this right at the start of this series, talking about the Mets coming out of that great series at home against the Nats and coming on the road where they've struggled this year. It's a different team. It's a more mature team. And I don't know if that makes a difference in terms of success on the road, but it certainly worked in this series. 1-2 to Yelich. The way they've gone to the 7th in D.C. with the Diamondbacks still up 5-2 on the Nationals. 1-2 from O'Flaherty, and he struck him out. O'Flaherty strikes out Yelich for the first out of the night.
Well, you Mets fans are going to see a lot of that slider. Good pitch. You know what's interesting to me, Gary, is that coming off that series against Washington that they really needed, there's usually a hangover effect that happens for a team when they're facing a team that's struggling at the time. They come in a little flat, and they've done just the opposite. They've turned up the heat.
Here's Bohr, who's 0 for 3, and he smacks one deep to the gap in right center. That'll roll all the way to the wall. Dietrich heading to third. He'll be waved on in. And the Marlins break up the shutout. An RBI double for Justin Bohr makes it 8-1.
Well, Bohr didn't wait for that slider. He jumped all over that first pitch fastball, and he's taking some of the best at bats by this Marlins team all night long. He and Dietrich.
So Flaherty yields a run, and now he'll face his first right-hand batter. And remember, we talked about his success against lefties. It's the other way around against the righties. They're hitting .420 against them this year, but Perry will give him at least the one right-hand batter. Prado is 0 for 3. We've got another left-hand hitter on deck in Ichiro Suzuki, and Robles ready to go in the bullpen if things get a little dicier.
I know there were left-handers up, and I guess maybe as a manager you want to see how your new guy pitches against all this left-handed hitting.
Toward the middle of the diamond, Tejada knocks it down but has no play. It's an infield hit for Prado. So the third hit of the inning.
Well, nice try by Tejada, who gets to it, but not going to have a play at first base. I was talking about having him get a big out in the 8th, coming back out for the 9th. I know you have left-handed hitters, but you got a huge lead. The guy did get here at 5 o'clock this afternoon after being on a plane all day. It's and I know for folks at home it's a big deal. Who cares? Anyone can fly, and well, it's a little bigger deal than you think.
So now Ichiro, who's 0 for 3, and O'Flaherty gets the slider in for a strike. And Worthing checking to see who's ready. They had Robles and Torres up. And we can now simply say Torres, since Carlos is the only Torres left.
Right.
Slap toward the hole, and Ichiro's got a base hit. That'll bring in a run. Bohr comes in to score the second run of the inning. It's now 8-2. And Perry is seeing quite enough. So 4 hits in the inning, and probably more significantly, 3 of them by left-hand batters.
Ichiro 95 away from 3,000 now.
So Flaherty will exit. Pitching change in the 9th inning. Robles coming in. 2 outs.
Well, we talked about Bobby Parnell having a scoreless innings on that Saturday night. So did Robles. Probably the biggest out he got. 2 strikeouts, one of them a Harper.
Danny Echeverria 1 for 3 on the night. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Echeverria had the infield hit that survived a challenge in the 8th inning. 2 runs home for the Marlins here in the 9th. They've got Prado at second, Ichiro at first. And Echeverria swings at the fastball, and it's 0-2. Jeff Mathis on deck.
This kid Robles is so strong. He doesn't use any of his lower half. Doesn't really push off. Just so strong in the chest and upper body.
Jerry's Familia just loosening in the bullpen. In case of disaster. It's been off day tomorrow, so no qualms about loosening him up. Two from Robles. Struck him out. 3 fastballs, and Echeverria down for the 2nd out.
Well, didn't mess around. Just threw this ball right by him, up and in.
And so the Marlins are down to their final out. Jeff Mathis, the number 8 hitter, 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Mathis pops one foul. That'll go out of play. 0-1. Matt Harvey went 7 tonight, allowed no runs, 2 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, in line for his 10th win. Lowered his ERA to 2.76. That's got him 4 runs in the 3rd and a Juan Uribe 3-run bomb in the 5th.
Makes Harvey's career ERA what, maybe under 2.5 now for all those, what, 57 starts you said?
28 of 57 starts now. He's allowed 1 run or no runs. Only Dwight Gooden has done as well or better in the last 100 years.
Was Dwight 41 and 13 after the first 2 years?
That's pretty good. Two balls and a strike to Mathis. Miguel Rojas is out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Mathis keeps it going. Two-one from Robles. And the slider off the plate. Now it's 3-1. Head to Tampa Bay after the game tonight. Terry Collins goes to Port St. Lucie tomorrow. On assignment.
Someone might call in sick if I were them.
3-1 coming. And Mathis takes a strike, and now the Marlins are down to their final strike. Well, David Wright's going up to Port St. Lucie too. And
we left today.
Terry Blevins is there, so Terry has a few assignments before he heads over to St. Pete to join the team.
So, you know, it's good for the manager to look someone in the eye, you know, see where they are.
Three and 2 to Jeff Mathis. Too high, and the ball game continues. A walk to Mathis loads the bases. And now Miguel Rojas will be the pinch hitter. Starts to throw a little more seriously.
Interesting. Uribe, the veteran, out there to talk to Robles.
Like that. So Miguel Rojas has come off the bench in each of the first 2 games of this series, and he's gone 0 for 3. Bases loaded, 2 out. Mets up 8-2 with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. And Rojas lines one down the right field line. Fair ball. Prado is in. Ichiro is in. Mathis will try and score. The throw goes to third. A 3-run double for Miguel Rojas, and now it's 8-5 New York. Remember that near disaster I was talking about? I think Terry's almost ready to bring us closer.
Yes, he is. Well, good hitting by Rojas. First pitch dumps it down, right on that line, down the right field line. And here comes Terry. Seen enough. He's bringing in the big man.
Well, with Rojas having cleared the bases, it's now a save situation for Familia. With a 3-run lead and the tying run on deck. Robles couldn't seal the deal, so it's up to the closer to come in and do it for him. Has scored 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth to put a scare in the Mets, and Jay Reese Familia called upon to try and get the final out for a save.
You know, Jay Reese pitched in last night's game, and he was not perfect. His control still an issue so far. Let's see if he can get it righted here.
Gave up a single and a hit by pitch last night before getting a double play and a strikeout to put a capper on it. They'll face D. Gordon and Uribe way in. The Marlins need one more base runner to get the tying run to bat, so Gordon a huge threat to bunt here. In any other inning with 2 out and a runner at second, you don't even think about a bunt, but he's got to get on base any way he can.
He does. What you do, though, here after watching last night's game, you do not swing until Familia throws a strike. You got to take a strike. Have to.
Derek Dietrich would be next. Rojas at second and 2 out. 5 runs home in the inning. Ball and a strike. Robles struck out Echeverria on 3 pitches, but then walked Mathis and gave up a 3-run double to Rojas. 1-1 to Gordon, who's 1 for 4 tonight. And he hits it hard, base hit. That'll bring in Rojas with the 6th run of the inning. And the Marlins will get the tying run to bat in the bottom of the ninth, an inning they began trailing 8-0.
Well, you see all the way over in the hole is Tejada. Not that he's going to make a play on that. That ball was scalded to center field and picked up by Cespedes.
The 6th hit of the inning. 6 runs have scored, and now Derek Dietrich, who began this inning with a base hit against O'Flaherty, will come to bat as the tying run. And Dietrich, in 105 at bats this year, has hit 6 home runs.
Manager has shown him a lot by playing him in all 3 games in left field, even against the left-hander Jonathan Neese.
Gordon at first, won't be held on. And Dietrich takes it wide for ball 1. The Mets have blown an 8-run lead and lost only once in their history. It came in 1980 in Chicago. They had an 8-run lead when this bottom of the 9th began. And it's looking awfully tenuous now.
And the Padres game was just less than a week ago.
That was a 6-run lead. 1-0 to Dietrich. Gordon runs. They'll let him go. Defensive indifference as Dietrich takes a strike. So that takes the force away at second base. Ryan Morris gets up in the Florida bullpen. Florida behind the times. The Miami bullpen. 1-1 to Dietrich. And he chases that one out of the strike zone. And again, the Marlins are down to their final strike.
Good sinking fastball, starting to get that life back on that heater for Familia.
One and 2 to Dietrich. And keeps it alive. Eric O'Flaherty started the inning. Faced 5 batters, gave up 4 hits. Robles got an out, but gave up a walk and a 3-run double. Familia greeted by an RBI hit from Gordon.
Got to get this out. Their best hitter's up next. Best power hitter up after that.
Christian Yelich. Justin Bour. One, 2 in the dirt. Galecki blocks the slider. 2-2. His first 3 saves coming out of the All-Star break. He broke that stretch against Washington Saturday night. Tyler Clippard now up behind him. 2-2 to Dietrich. Ball 3. Met fans have been on their feet the entire inning. The Marlin fans have been super energized watching their team score 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Three and 2. Bouncing ball. Murphy can't get it. Recovers in time, but can't make the play. And now the tying runs are on base. Dietrich with an infield hit, and the inning continues for the Marlins.
Good try by Murph off the end of the glove. I don't think even with a good throw he's going to have him at first base by the time he retrieves the baseball, but it didn't matter because it's offline. Boy, Dietrich pulled a hit past Duda, hit a ball between first and second, hits another ball, gets 3 hits today, all on the pull side, and the Mets infield not playing the pull.
Dan Worthen out at the mound, trying to get some counsel to Familia. This has been like a tidal wave rolling on the Mets here in the 9th inning. A game the Mets had completely in hand for 8.5 innings. But the Marlins have put together 7 hits, scored 6 runs, and they've got the tying runs on base. And Christian Yelich coming to the plate. Yelich is 0 for 4 tonight.
0 for 3 off Familia in his career.
Gordon at third, great speed. Dietrich at first, not quite as much. He carries the tying run. And Yelich attacks the first pitch and fouls it off.
Dietrich at first base has good speed. Not great, but good speed. Good solid speed.
Not Gordon's speed.
No.
But few do. Yelich 6 home runs this year. He's been a red hot hitter for 6 weeks. Rounded down to first. Duda's got it, and the ball game is over. The Mets survived the 9th inning. The Marlins score 6 times, lead the tying runs on base, and in a game the Mets dominated for 8.5 innings, they hang on to win it 8-6 to sweep the 3-game series and win their 6th consecutive game.
Well, that's one of the ugliest great wins for the Mets I've seen in some time. They beat up on David Phelps. 8 runs scored by the first 5 hitters in the lineup. Duda had 3 runs batted in. Matt Harvey over 7 innings was outstanding. 7 shutout innings, but after that a struggle for the bullpen. But like you said, Gary, just hold on.
Mets now 8 games over 500. They win 3 in a row on the road for the first time this season. 6 straight wins overall.